Hello class, we're going to look at how to do animations directly in Unity. So where we're using 3ds Max, we're just basically going to do, there's a new system, and this is why it's a new lab that's being created here. So I brought in my crate rig, and I'm going to unpack it completely because I need to do some work here. So I'm going to unpack it completely so I can work with it. Right now I've got my lid, and you can see right now I can slide it back and forth, but if I rotate it, it's in the center. So I'm just going to basically do I'm going to make a empty parent. This is going to be lid root, and I'm going to move that over. So I know this is supposed to be, that's 1.5. We'll do 1.5 up. It should be about 1 meter. I'll go the opposite direction on this actually. So there we go. The lid, basically, I want to just drop that. So if that was 1.2, then I probably want to make that 1.2. And then on the lid, I'll just move this forward one. And so it's back in place. So when I do my animation, I'll be working on the lid root here. So you can see right here, and I'll be on the z-axis. So pretty straightforward. To get started, we're going to bring up a new window, and this is going to be under animation. Animation. So animator is what we were using to build the state. We'll come back to that in a moment, but we'll go to the animation. We'll parent this down here. Beginning using the root, create animator and an animation clip. So let's go to lid root. Let's add the composer animator. We do need to create, go back to our project window. We do need to create, again, under animation, we need an animation controller. And this will be the, let's call it crate controller. So we'll go back to our crate. Oh, I put this on the wrong, hold on. Let's remove the component. Let's put the animator here because we want the whole object to be controlled. And then the crate controller is going to be what's going to be there. So we've got the animator set up. We've got the controller, which right now, if we bring this up, we have no states. And we'll deal with that one moment. Again, we'll do entry again. We'll just create a state. Again, I'll just copy paste. Let's get the diamond formation that we've had before. And this is going to be close, idle, close. Box open. This will be box closing. And I should put opening. Again, a verb to indicate action here where this is going to be idle, open, and then make transition, again, make transition. And then I'm just going to go in parameters. We do know that, again, we have, a trigger we'll call on act. Again, we're going to keep the same structure we had before. And again, this will be add a condition here on act, and this one will be on act. We'll come back and we'll set up the animations in a moment. But that's basically, again, we've seen this before. We'll again come back and set the motion settings here because you got to make those animations. So far so good. We can go in and create animation and animation clip, and this will be our idle, open. I'm actually going to go and do create animation clip. This will be box opening. I'm actually go do, again, I'll just delete this in one moment. We'll start with the box opening. So again, here is create not rigged. Let's go into the animator. Let's go to the box opening, and we can, here's the box opening. And that will help us set this up. We'll go back to our animation. So we'll click here, box opening. Let's go to our scene. And essentially we're going to basically add a property. We'll go to the transform. And we'll set the rotation. And we could do precision, but so here in Unity we have to we don't have to pick. Whereas in 3ds Max I like having all the property channels keyed. We only need to key only the rotation. We'll do that right here. And then so we're going to do a key here, and then we're going to go to 18. No, I'll go to 19. In this case, we're going to add 19, and then we can then rotate. I rotated the wrong thing. Let's grab the lid. And I've rotated the wrong thing in this case. So let's delete this again. Let me remove the property. Again, I want to just do the lid and its transform, its rotation. There we go. This is what I wanted. And then I can add a key here. So I've got here to here is my animation. And then I'll go and set the rotation. I'll do 120. I did the whole thing. So let's just click on the root. And there we go. We can see. Oh, let's set that to 120. And then I'll set the keyframe. And you can see that now, hooray, I've got my animation going. So what's nice about, so now I have a couple frames right here. I'm going to go and just delete those. You can see that it'll take care of the time for me automatically. So here we go. Here is my first animation, my box opening. Let's go to the project window, and I'm going to duplicate this. And this is interesting. I can duplicate. Where is? I'll just do Control V, and this will be rename box closing. And I can go on to the animation, box closing, and I can literally grab these animation frames. I'll move these back to 19. So I'm basically reversing the animation by changing the frames. So I've grabbed the animation frames and I've flipped them around. And we can see this. Again, I need to click. You can see here it is. Let me try this again. And it looks like I didn't have the object selected previously. So there we go. So that's why I didn't take, but you can see that here is now closing. I can go into the project right now. I'll duplicate closing. This will be right now. This will be idle open. Again, I can go in, make sure I'm selected the roots. I am going to delete these frames in this case, and I'm just going to go up one frame. So here we go, and I'm just going to keyframe it, just so I have two frames going on here. I could leave it with one frame. I would prefer to have two frames, and this is just how I'm going to go with it right now. So there we go. I've got that. Let's go back to my project. I'm going to go back to my box opening. I'm going to duplicate this. There we go. And this will be, again, I'm going to rename this box idle open. Box idle open. Oh, I'm renaming this. Sorry, this is box idle close. My apologies. And in this case, this is box idle closed. Wait a second. Okay, so I have made a mistake here with, so this is, all right, this is actually, let's go look at the animation here. I'll click on lid root, and this is just, so this is my idle open. Hold on. So I'm going to put this is box opening. And this is just making sure, make sure I click on that. Here is, so this is supposed to be, here's idle open. All right. So one thing I do need to go in, I do need to go into the animator. This is one thing that helps. So now I've got, I need to idle close. So this will be box idle closed. So here's box idle open. This should be box opening. Box closing will be box closing, idle open, idle open close, idle open. So by having these in the animator right now, I can now go back to the animation. I can now pull down. You can see here are all. So here's box. So let's get this correct box. So this is idle open, idle close. Let's go back to my scene view. Click on the lid. So this is supposed to be closed. So in this case, I want to grab these two frames and set this to Z to 0. So set C and then click. So I can delete this frame, and now I can reset a new frame here. There we go. So here is my idle closed. Box closing. We can see that this is now, that's correct. Box idle close. This is correct. Idle open. This is correct. And then box opening. So I need to flip these around. This is supposed to be opening. So I'm going to grab these frames, pull these back here. And here we go. There we go. So I got now these frames all working correctly. So basically now, now that I've got that set up, I've got the animator set up. It's basically basic. Go to my project window. I'm going to go down a level, and I'm just going to make sure that I've got the create control script here, and make sure the animator is turned on. And I think I've got everything set up now. I'll grab the animator. I'll drag it over here so you can see it in action. So again, the big thing is that ideally, you do want, again, it's a weird scenario where the best way to work is to make sure the animator is set up with the clips you want. So again, this is the lab we are in. You want those clips to be set up. You want them assigned to the animator so that in the animation window, when you click on here, you can see that I can select those, because these are the animations. Again, you can create a new clip as well. So add a property. These are basically what channels you want to animate. And again, you want to be able to transform, not just the transform, but basically position, rotation, scale. Once you go in, set the key, set the value you want, set the keyframe. Again, click add keyframe or overwrite the keyframe in some cases. And that's pretty much it. This is pretty much your straight. This is what's called the dope sheet. This is just frames. There are curves here. Now, this is just a direct line between, there's nothing going on here, but if we go look at closing, you can see how there's a curve over time. You can play with the curve, ease in, ease out. This is playing with ease in, ease out stuff. So these are things to play with as you see fit. But again, I'm more concerned with the dope sheet, basically setting my frames as I need to. All right, this is going to be an example of the setup where you're building your own animations. All right. Basically, again, your assignment is to, again, take your crate, export it out without bones, and just set it up like I did. Get its it position, its pivot right. Again, lid root is basically where that lid with the dummy where we previously had. So, all right, that should give you enough to get going with what's going on.